Guys, the really short window right now is closing. That's in front of us, where we can take advantage of Bitcoin's short-term downwards move to get here the next leg to the upside. If you want to look which levels I'm watching and where I'm potentially open my next Bitcoin trade, then you should definitely not miss out on this episode and go with me here over all the content that I have again prepared for you guys, and so much more. We're gonna talk today a little bit more about altcoins, so make sure that you're not missing any of that, and let's go. Thank you so much for tuning in here on this Tuesday, guys. We jump directly into what's actually going on here. And so first of all, today could be potentially become quite volatile in my early afternoon, and that is when here Jerome Powell at 8:30 in the US has his speech for opening remarks for your integrated review of the capital framework for large banks conference, and it's based in Washington DC. So, but there are rumors that he will announce today his resignation. So that doesn't mean that he's immediately out the same day. I don't think that he's gonna resign on the spot. Usually they have like a certain, like, how to say that again? I forgot the term for that. So, but he has basically like a time frame, you know, when he says, okay, now I resign on this date, then I'm gone, you know. So, and I think that could be something that will definitely create volatility today in the market, and we can take advantage of that. So I will maybe make another stream tonight around that time where the speech is happening, so that we can take together some trades here and make some money. So, but I'm not sure about this yet. I have a lot of things to do today, but potentially I will make another stream around this time. So now when we're looking at the DXY overall is still here going to the downside. We're below 98 points as expected. So, and if Jerome's speech is in our favor, then we're gonna see here continuation to the downside when the US market is opening. Here on the weekly chart, putting in a green candle, there was also something that I pointed out, that if the candle this week opens in green, then most likely we get continuation. It was earlier a little bit in the red. And I will also show you why I believe that we potentially still go a little bit lower before we go higher for Bitcoin, and why that is not a problem for us here just in a second. So, but overall, I still believe that we are going here back over $120,000 by this week at some point. We might consolidate here a little bit in that symmetrical triangle or bull pennant, whatever you want to call that. And here we are getting closer to our entry level of $119,700. We are 1,000, basically 1%. We are 1% away from that. And as you can see here, yesterday we got rejected from the downward sloping trend line. Not really surprising to me, because this was not the moment where this should have broken out, you know. So when you look at textbook areas where we should break out, it's always after at least like 70, more like to 80% completion of the pattern. So somewhere here in that area is where we should get the breakout, and that puts the breakout between tomorrow and Sunday, and not earlier. That is where we should see that. With the falling wedge, exactly the same thing. Falling wedge here within the golden ratio is still valid. Nothing has changed there. And then when we go now in the lower time frames, here in the 30-minute time frame. So here I was watching after yesterday's move how we consolidated here to the downside, and I want to point this out again because it happens all the time, guys, and I can show it to you. Not only on Bitcoin but also on other coins, which is really important that you remember this on shorter time frames. What did I always tell you? Where to look for trades in a bull run? I always said shorter time frames, 15-minute, 30-minute. That is where you find your entries. How do you find your entries? You look for either sideways consolidations like bull flags, you know, or parallel channels where we're consolidating, where we form support and resistance in between, and then at some point usually we're going to break to the upside because we are in a bull run, you know. So and then you can either choose take the riskier trade, as I always said, from the bottom, and risk that we get a deviation down and it wicks you out, you know, and then it comes back up and then goes, or the other way around, it actually goes up, breaks, and continues. Or the safe way, you just take the trade all the way from here, from the top side, which is the more safer way to do it, and then the continuation. That's one way to do it. The other way is what you see here right now, because we had this also here in the past. Look, downwards consolidation, then breakout. We went to the upside. Downwards consolidation, breakout. Here also, yesterday, downwards consolidation, breakout. This here is nothing else. So and usually we get close to the prior top when we are breaking out from this line or past that top. Look here. Here down. So here was that top. For this downside consolidation, we went higher a little bit than previously. Here I expect the same thing. The only problem is we have here now this resistance again at $118,200 approximately. But maybe when we approach it, give it an hour, maybe 2 hours before the price will pump through that. If that is not coinciding with Jerome's speech later. So, but this here, right now, might be a good short-term scalp trade again that you can take advantage of because we just broke out of that to the upside. So I saw that here again on my other screen. I had not enough time because I was preparing the stream to have a proper look, but actually I should have entered this. The trade from yesterday I already closed. I can show you that here. I think position history right here, Bitcoin. So there I made $670, but when you look at, how can I show that again? Is this here in order history? I actually made more. I'm sometimes confused on this platform how I show proper P&L. So because actually it was 900, almost $1,000, you know, but maybe minus fees, it was then, when I hold, yeah, there you see, close P&L, there you see it. Yeah, it was the fees, you know, the fees were heavy on that trade, you know, but I made technically $1,000 on this trade really quickly, you know, so I had a stop loss and the stop loss kicked me out. And that was all what I cared about, you know, stop loss out. It ran afterwards a little bit higher, but then you saw what happened. It came way, way, way lower. So I was happy that I was out. Now, what is this? Okay, so here, if you want to trade with me together, these trades that I give sometimes here live on the stream where we actually make money, then use BloFin. Sign up on BloFin, you get $5,000 in bonuses, sign up and deposit bonuses and trading bonuses if you sign up there. Plus, if you deposit additionally $500, I will let you into my private trading group where we trade currently $500 to $10,000, and we are up $1,500 right now overall. You know, so that's the balance that we have right now, $1,500, and we have still trades running there. So what you need to do for that is use the link in the live chat or in the description. Send me or my team on Telegram or on Twitter a message with your BloFin UID when you have deposited the $500, and we're going to send you then the Telegram link. It's that easy. Now here on the 4-hourly chart with the MDX algo scalp gradients. So here, I think we get today a continuation move to the upside for a really simple reason. We're above the weekly open, we're above the daily open, and that warrants over the course of the day usually a move to the upside. I'm not saying that this must be a sustainable move. It could be that this is just a short-term pump that gets rejected maybe up here again around $120,000 and goes back down. I want to show you here just in a moment why we could get a rejection. It has nothing to do with here that downward sloping trend line. It has something to do with liquidity in the market. And also here on the reactor indicator, the turnaround here shows short-term momentum is definitely going back to the upside, so price should follow. Here on the 4-hourly chart with the moving averages, here you get one indication already where we could get a short-term rejection, and that is the 20 moving average. We were trying to hold on to the 50 and to the 20 for quite a while, and then we actually got a fake out yesterday here and got rejected from both, and now we're trying to break above the 20 again, and only when we do that, only when we break above the 20 here with the next 4-hourly candle or with the current one, we're going to get the continuation that we're looking for. Only then. And as long as we are below the 20, I would be a little bit cautious, you know, unless you want to scalp. Then here on the 1-hourly chart, 1 second, somebody is calling me. 1 second. Yes, hello? Hello? Yes? Yes? One moment. Okay, guys, sorry. That was a really, really important call that I had. I could not take the call, you know, so I'm really sorry about this, but everything is fine. Let's continue here. Where was I at? Yeah, so looking here at this downward sloping trend on the 1 hourly chart, you see here stochastic is going up. We're getting soon a buy signal, and the RSI is also pointing to the upside. Again, warrants continuation. The only thing that is here a small problem is this resistance area from 118,300 to 119,400. But once we are breaking through this, we move way, way, way higher. Then liquidation levels. You see here we have taken most of the liquidity that was now below us, but here comes the but now. We are putting in lower highs. And this shows me that market makers here in that low leveraged area starting to build shorts because they gonna push it themselves or kick off that push to the downside, or they're just waiting that naturally things take the course and we start moving here roughly to $114,000, $115,000. Once Bitcoin makes that move here to the downside, altcoins will most likely not react as heavy as you would have seen it before we were in a bull market. So they might pull back 10%, and that will be the golden opportunity to enter them. That is what you are looking for. So right now, the best thing that you can do is that you either wait here on the 4-hourly chart for the exponential moving average to be reclaimed to get confirmation that we actually first start moving higher and getting basically here a fake out where everybody thinks, oh, we go now in price discovery and maybe just slightly go above the past all-time high and then come straight down. So you have to be really careful with that right now. But you can, of course, here take advantage of that move. So this is a $5,000 move that's over 3%. I would definitely trade this if you are looking for here a good short-term entry on a higher time frame like the 4-hourly chart. And the liquidation levels showing also that most likely upside first is favored because of the liquidity that's building up here. And we just took downside liquidity from longs that were here that fueled that move here back to the upside. On the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, I'm not, like I said already, I think yesterday, I'm not surprised that we are pulling here back because we're approaching this resistance here. We actually did the whole move that I expected to happen over 2 weekly candles where we get a break here and the next candle pushes in this resistance. We got this more or less in one single candle. That's why this week's candle is pulling back a little bit. And that should be not come to a surprise. This was a crazy move here. Over 20, wait, how much percent was this here in that candle? 30%. Over 30% in 1 week on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. So that is a really, really big move for a chart like that. So I definitely see here that we are closing this week's candle as it is, or even pulling back a little bit more. But then the following week, we get a continuation candle, and that will then put Ethereum above $4,000. Now, I had a look this morning how retail is looking. And what you can see here, when you're looking on Google Trends for altcoin season, retail is coming back right now. And this is really, really good for us because they're going to pump our backs. And that's what we want. We want to make money here in the altcoin season. And we are not, not wanting to go back now to how things were like 6 months ago, So we definitely want retail now in the market to help us getting these 5, 10x on even major coins, So here, the Bitcoin dominance dropped here now for such an extended amount of time. I'm not surprised. I mentioned so many times in the last couple of days. I'm not surprised that we are getting here now a small bounce to the upside. So as long as that kind of remains as it is, so we are basically retesting here now. This is a bearish retest about this former support level. That is now retested as resistance, So as long as we are not breaking above that, we are fine. Then total free market cap. So here we are also just retesting now prior resistance as support. Don't expect today that we are breaking here back above that unless Powell says something like really crazy and like he is effective immediately resigning, or he is resigning. Then this will definitely turn around and push here in direction of an all-time high. Otherwise, it will stay where it is. And then also here over the next coming days, you're going to get continuation in direction of that all-time high. Ethereum pulls back as expected. I told you this is going to happen. We come up here and start pulling back. So that is basically this leg here already that we are seeing. So there could be in the coming days one more test here before we come lower, but this can also happen before already. We don't need here these 2 moves. It can happen in the next one here already that we come down. Depends on how things develop over the next coming days. But the levels where you want to open a new positions for Ethereum is down here at $3,500 and then here $3,350 in that range. That is where you want to open new positions for the next major move here to the upside. Because this here is a topping formation, guys. This is a topping formation on a really high time frame. That does not mean that this whole move is going to retrace now back to like $2,700 because we're in a bull market. But a short-term pullback is definitely something that I see here right now for Ethereum after we hit here exactly the level that I pointed out for, God knows when, how long. The same with the Wyckoff reaccumulation pattern, hit here the short-term resistance. Now we're in that pullback. Also here, $3,000, basically $500 is the level to watch before we get here the bounce into LPS and then the break. Solana, insane strength that came yesterday into Solana here. We went almost to the first major level on the bump and run pattern of $207. So now I regretted so much that I had the stop loss kicking me out. I would have made a 5-figure amount if I would have stayed in the trade. So I'm really, really annoyed about this a little bit, but you cannot be too annoyed because then you get biased, you have bad mood, you know, then your trading gets affected by that. So I try not to think about that and just move on and keep looking forward to more trades. So, but here below the $200 level, some consolidation on the 4-hourly chart before we get also here a break. And once we are breaking here past $211, there is not much resistance anymore to go here really quickly to the upside and start moving parabolic. Again, we are following here that fracture that I pointed out. You see here how exactly we are following this on the daily chart. So here should be another 2-3 days of sideways movement. Then we get a push to the upside, chop here around, you know, and then we get another pump to the upside. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So if you're not in a Solana position right now, also here, there could be a short-term pullback if Bitcoin and Ethereum pulls back here over the course of today, but not lower than like $190, $188. Something in that range is what I'm looking for. Then SUI is back at the original entry that I had given here for this trade setup, for this big swing trade setup of $3.90 roughly. We had $3.87, but also just consolidating here. But after this consolidation, we're going to get a break of $4.23. And once we get this break, SUI will start sending really quickly into higher levels. So here around this level is right now a good moment to actually get into a SUI trade. Then a curve. Here also on the 4-hourly chart, we are putting in this symmetrical triangle or pennant, whatever you want to call it. So if I adjust this a little bit more like this, then we are still accurate. Yeah, so also here, I see a break coming for this because the stochastic is flatlining for quite a while already. The MACD is trending down, but only small candles. And the RSI is going down because we were just at the $1 resistance. But this might be changing here really quickly. So let me see here on the 1-hourly chart. Yeah, so here on the 1-hourly chart looks already much, much better. So maybe give this like 2 hours. And once we closed the current 4-hourly candle above that trend line here of that symmetrical triangle here, I would take a chance, if I would not have a trade already on this running, I would take a chance here to enter from there and trade this break into $1.11. That's also my target, personally, my target where I take profit on curve currently. The next one is render. So I'm actually happy that I did not take a render trade yesterday because we came here exactly into this massive resistance of $4.65 and then retraced all the way back, I think, to the golden ratio here at $4.31. So, and got a bounce from there. So I would definitely wait for a break now of $4.65 before I would enter the next trade. I would not, I would just not enter this before because you still have then roughly 5% to move here to $5. And once the $5 mark is broken, don't forget we have here the W target of $7.11 to the upside. Let me see here. Okay, yeah, I can have a quick look at Injective. Let me see here, Injective. So Injective slightly below the entry of that next trade setup. So here also topping formation on a daily chart, dangerous. We could come down here to like $14.20, so another 3% roughly, and then move back to the upside. So that would be an entry level that I would risk to take if that is confirmed support on the retest. If not, and we go deeper, then wait that we reclaim $15.18. Guys, unfortunately, I have to run because of that call. I have to go now somewhere quickly to fix something, but I will be most likely back tonight. So don't miss out on that when I come back tonight. It will be around the time when Powell will have its speech, a couple minutes before that. So yeah, make sure that you stick around for that. And don't forget, smash up the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you then tonight with more money. Bye-bye.